I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What is up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome back to our One Day at a Time after show. Today we are breaking down season 4, episode 3, Boundaries, which feels very appropriate considering we are all social distancing right now within the boundaries of our own home. As always, I am your host, Taylor Gaze, and I'm joined by two lovely co-panelists tonight. We, of course, have Candice Cruz, AfterBuzz veteran, rocking that sweater. I'm really loving that look today.
Thanks. Listen, below, I got the yoga pants rocking, so I figured I'd dress up the top half for you guys. I'm enjoying it. The social boundaries are not there for me.
I'm in the exact same boat as you. I just put on makeup about, 10 minutes before we started.
The one time a week I put my makeup on is for you guys, so you're welcome.
So special, guys. And we also have our lovely newbie who's been such a fun addition to this panel, Elysa Acosta Milan.
Hey everyone, I was so excited for this episode. So much happened in this episode, and I cannot wait to talk about it.
Yes, what did you guys think about this one overall? I know we were really excited about it last week. Did it live up to the hype for both of you?
I definitely think it lived up to the hype. I mean, obviously with the surprise at the end, that was what we were looking forward to most. But to be honest, I just thought it was so fun. And for it to be a network show now, to push the boundaries that much and to have it be like a family sitcom and still do it in a tasteful way, but really hit the nail on the head and, you know exactly what's happening. I thought it was so fun and it was great. And I mean, what else can you say? Poor Alex. I feel like regardless, this is a whole scarring process for him. I don't want to talk about it. We know what we saw. Moving on.
I completely agree. And I completely agree with the point about this being networked, because it is so boundary pushing. It's something that we never really talk about, or I know some of the writers were saying it's usually the roles reversed, where the mom walks in on the son or something. So I love how it was this reversal. What were your thoughts, Elysa?
I thought it was great. I was pleasantly surprised about a lot of the things in the episode, especially about a certain somebody returning. That was the best part for me. I feel that with Penelope and Max, I have never wanted a relationship to work more on television than I did the two of them. I just thought it was amazing. It was really funny this episode too. There were so many jokes, especially with Lydia, Rita Moreno. I just loved it. Line
after line after line. It was one-liners galore.
It was so good. The writing is always so solid. But yeah, I have written down so many of the lines and I'm just tattoo this on me. This is just the best comedy writing I've seen.
And the innuendos, man. The banana, let's go. Come on. you have to throw it in there.
But yeah, let's start out just kind of from the top. So basically the whole sort of circumstance that this episode surrounds is the fact that Alex caught Penelope having a little
moment.
Me time. Just a little bit of me time.
She was taking care of herself. She was enjoying herself. And listen, Outlander, whew, if y'all don't watch Outlander, come on now.
I'm obsessed with how well they work in real life things. Don't get me wrong, I love it when they have a fake show that they're watching that they're obsessed with, but I love it when the real pop culture sort of comes into play. The Outlander, they were talking about Shrek, they're talking about Rachel Maddow. I thought it was just so funny.
It was great.
Bored. And I love how the whole situation was sort of set up where he left his phone in the house and so he hears a buzz. I just thought that was such smart, hilarious.
The timing. Also, did he change his vibration sound? Because that doesn't sound like my phone vibrating.
It was really
just
loud.
saying.
It's a powerful vibration.
They played it perfectly though, because when I had seen the commercial for it from last week, I thought, how is he going to walk in on her? Did he forget something and he just wanted to ask her a question? How did that happen? And it was just perfect with the cell phone. And then all of a sudden it started vibrating. And if I was him, I would think, okay, that's really loud. And where did I leave it? And then he walks in not thinking it was going to be his mom. He thought he was going to be, maybe he left his cell phone in her room. I thought that was hilarious, especially because of the fact that, like you guys said, this is real life situations. I've never had that happen with a parent or anything like that, but I'm sure that there are people out there that have happened. And it's just so funny that it was just real life and how he reacted to it.
Yeah, just completely
absolutely.
mortified. And of course, we have talked, several times on the show about how much we love like the women's therapy group, and
Yes.
they never disappoint for me. I love that she brought it up there, and they were like, do not talk to him about it. Like, this is not something
No, I agree wholeheartedly. Like, this is not a thing to talk about. Like, yes, the birds and the bees, that's one conversation. When you walk on mom enjoying the birds and the bees, not the conversation to be had.
Especially because it's so, I feel like on both ends, it's so awkward. Like for him to hear his mom talk about that, and then for her to be embarrassed and have her son just like in the women's group when she was like, no, it was me. And they were like, oh, I would have felt the same exact way. Like, oh my gosh, I was so embarrassed.
I completely agree. I know I definitely wouldn't want my mom to bring that up, but I did like Penelope's point about how she's like, it's a normal, healthy part of life. Like he needs to know that this is like, it's okay and it's healthy. And so she does kind of not take the advice of everyone around her and decides that she wants to try talking about it. But of course, when she tries, the curtains open and there's Lydia right there.
Pun intended.
Yeah, unintended. Disagreeing with her. I thought this was so perfectly in character for her. She's just so passionate and she's so Catholic that it makes so much sense how she is so scandalized by it. And I did kind of like how we had the double standard sort of brought up, how she's like, maybe it's normal for men because they're animals, but we can sort of control ourselves. What did you kind of think about her reaction?
I think too, it's generationally like a taboo. Not only is it like Catholic in general and like religion, let's just encompass all religions at this point. Like, I don't even think it's just Catholicism. I think most people that are very strong in their faith, it is more of like a taboo type of conversation. It's not something that like you talk about. It's not supposed to happen, like blah, blah, blah. I digress. But I think definitely like where Lydia's generation is, it's definitely what she was saying is true. Like women don't do that. Men may do it, but we just don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. Like men do what they have to do, but like you would never want to deflower anything. Like you wouldn't want to take away like the bubble that is like your marriage. Right. So like that's their generation. And then I think Penelope's in that weird generation where like it was acceptable and it is okay, but it's still like awkward to talk about. And then there's Elena who's like, let's talk about it. So I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about how it's like these two extremes with like Lydia and Elena. And then, Penelope is sort of caught in the middle where she's like, I don't quite know where I stand on it.
Right.
I totally agree. I think that's a really, really good point. And I love how this kind of opens the door to a larger conversation about whether, this house has enough boundaries, which I can see how maybe sometimes we think that it doesn't. What did you think about sort of that initial conversation, Elysa?
It reminded me so much of my family. I remember growing up and my brother would get into an argument with my mom and he would say, I have rights. And my mom would say, this is my house. You have no rights. And so when I'm watching the banter between Penelope and her son and then the grandmother, I just thought, well, it was funny because I'm thinking, okay, Penelope, you're the mom, but she's your mom. So you really don't have a leg to stand on there. But I just thought it was funny because it's so much like my family. And I think it's like a lot of households growing up, especially now with everything that's online, you want to make sure that your kids are safe. You don't want to know, or you want to know like who they're talking to, what sites they're going to, things like that. But it was funny in this episode that it wasn't about Marcel Ruiz, Alex, it was about Penelope and him walking in on her. So it's kind of like, well, of course, if it had been him, you would have said, I'm the mother. So of course, this is how the rules are. But then when it's reversed, then like later in the episode, I like when she's like, okay, maybe we should have boundaries. And he's like, oh, I just thought that was just perfect.
Yeah, it definitely muddies the waters, especially because, Lydia is there and she is Penelope's mom. And it's different because, of course, Alex is still underage, like he's still living in her house. But then Lydia's living in Penelope's house, but she's also, her mom. So it's just like a confusing dynamic. And I like how it always causes this sort of tension, but in a really fun and sort of entertaining way. And one of the best parts of this episode, I think by far, is Lydia's little catfishing scheme she's got. I thought it was hilarious. I really did not know what was going on at first. I was like, oh, is she trying to date? And then of course we find out that she's interviewing someone. What did you guys think of that? Did you think that she was like trying to get with Danny? Or like, what was your initial thoughts to that?
The original like thought, I thought that she was trying to get with him really quick to like get back at Penelope and be like, listen, if I can get a man like this, like you can get a man like this. You don't have to take care of yourself that way. But then I liked how it like switched and she was interviewing him.
That interview was so funny too. About like there's no money in theater. Like, who is your favorite pope? Like, she's
also she was a theater like goddess, so that's why I thought it was so funny. I was like, the Rita Moreno is like making a joke at like there's no money in theater, so I thought it was hilarious.
They always seem to do that in the show, like write so well to like the backgrounds of the actual actors, and like kind of plant those funny little.
And I wonder too if they make a little bit of like nudge on their own. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like there's no money in the arts. Like
yeah.
I thought that was so funny. And of course, when Penelope finds out, she's not super excited about this, especially when she reads the bio, which is just the funniest bio in the whole world. It has her ratios. It has some like inadvertently, accidentally pretty sexual content in it if you read it a certain way. I just thought that was so funny. And then like you were saying, Elysa, we kind of have the conversation about, well, is she being hypocritical by kind of saying she needs these boundaries? And you know, what is kind of the right answer to all of this here? And I think that we get. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I love the fact that Schneider was a part of it all. When he walked in, I'm thinking, of course he was a part of this. And it's so funny because like it was kind of like him and Lydia were not conspiring, but they had put it together. And the funniest part for me was the fact that he said, well, thank God I helped her because she had this on Craigslist. Like, you never know who you're going to get from Craigslist.
Also, like, would you ever let anyone touch your dating profile?
No.
No, especially your mom.
No.
And also the fact that she put it on Tinder, like that's not even much better than Craigslist. Like, let's be real.
Go to Hinge.
Go to any other one.
Do not go to Tinder.
Christian Mingle.
Anything but this, okay? But I love how Lydia is, you know, her petty self, and we love her for it. She decides that, fine, if you're gonna say that we're gonna have boundaries now, then I'm gonna pretend to be like completely enamored with Leslie, and we're, you know, coming out of my bedroom in the morning together. And
nobody believed that.
No, poor Leslie too. I feel bad for Dr. B.
Breakfast is for closers, Leslie.
That was funny. Amazing.
That was a nice little one too.
I love the fact how when he came out, the mom and the two kids looked at him and it was like they weren't shocked at all. They were just like, okay, well, we know that that's not real. Can you take me to work? I didn't believe it either. I knew that that was like, because she always talks about the fact that she loves her husband and they're just friends and all these pet names she has for Dr. B. I knew that that's what was going on, that there was nothing going on between the two of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
she lives behind a curtain. Like if something actually would have happened, you all would have heard it.
You would have known that. That's a very, very good point. But I love how we then have the conversation between Penelope and Schneider where she kind of realizes, okay, like she's doing this because she loves me. It's not because of any ill intention. And so she kind of takes that back, and I
feel that happens in real life a lot more. Like I just feel like I've talked to like a couple of my friends who have said, oh, my parents set me up on a blind date, or they put me on match.com or something. And I'm like, really? Like I've had friends tell me that their sisters or their brothers or a parent or friends, somebody set them up. So when she said that in the episode that her, like, you know, I'm setting you up through this, I was not really surprised because I know that happens in real life. I'm sure
I've never had that before. I
never either, but I'm sure it happens a lot more than we think.
My mom's taste for me is a lot different than my taste for me, so I digress.
Well, I mean, listen, it kind of works out in this case because Lydia knows her taste to the point of she's been with this certain person before who she just happened to run into the grocery store. And
cut out of the bag, give it to us, Taylor.
Max is back, you guys.
Yay!
Indonesia and Lydia just decided to, do one little piece of meddling, and Max is at Penelope's door, and I love how it just feels like nothing has changed between them. Like they have obviously really missed each other. He picks her up. Their height difference cracks me up every time because he's
Like
so
this.
much taller than her. But it's so just like sweet and adorable. And we get a pretty nice little makeout sesh there. And I love that we of course have Schneider
With the high five.
Of course.
had to get on a little group hug. But oh my gosh, guys, I'm just so excited that he's back, and I hope that we keep getting to see more of them. I imagine that we will. We wouldn't have brought them back from nothing. Right?
Not gonna lie, is it bad that I kind of hoped, like, I wanted it to be Max, but I kind of hoped it was Sam Heughan from Outlander, and that would have been like the whole icing.
I was kind of thinking that too. I was like, it's gonna be some Scottish guy or something.
It was gonna be like actually Outlander. I was like, that would be impressive.
Oh my gosh,
that would be impressive.
So funny.
Well, it kind of ruined it for me because I hadn't watched the episode yet, and I was watching the live that Gloria, one of the producers, had done with all the actors, and she was like, "Max is back," and I was like, "Oh,
no, but yes,
but exactly." I was like, "No, but yes, I'm so like I've literally since Friends with Rachel and Ross when they were on a break and then they weren't. Like I've never been more excited for a couple on TV." To get back together. So if they play with my emotions and he leaves again this season, I will not be able to handle it.
Well, that's the thing. I was surprised because I think
that they brought him back so soon.
Yeah, you were last with Candice. You're like, if they're going to be endgame, like there needs to be some time in between to figure their stuff out. So I am a little nervous just because you said that, and I kind of agreed with that. But I don't know. But we will see. This was such a fun episode.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm glad to have broken it down with you guys, but don't worry, we still have much more to talk about. We have a special segment for all of you, and it's Christmas Day, is that right, Elysa?
Yeah, so I'm so excited because I wanted to switch things up a little bit this episode. So I wanted to quiz the two of you on some One Day at a Time trivia. And it's more
going down, Taylor.
I'm worried. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous.
They're not super hard. You can kind of by what's said, you can kind of guess who it is, but it's more so about their real life people, not like the characters on the show. So you could either say like Justina or you can say Penelope. I'll know who you're talking about. So okay. First one, it's about a tweet. Who tweeted that quote, "One of the greatest moments of my life has to be attempting to teach Rita Moreno how to do the chicken dance"?
Oh, this is
Elena.
No, this is Sydney. Sid.
Yes, it was Sid.
Sheridan Pace, yes.
I was trying to say Sid and Sheridan, and it came out as Sydney. So Sheridan.
Sure.
And she actually tweeted a video of her showing Rita Moreno how to do the chicken dance. It was so great. I was like, yes, I'm so here for this.
I remember this because I
remember the video too.
So many times because it was so cute.
Okay, question number 2. During an interview, who stated that they play these two sports, basketball and soccer?
Marcel.
Yep, Marcel Ruiz, Alex.
He seems sporty, you know?
He does, but I mean, it could be anybody like Schneider, Todd, he might play sports,
Maybe.
like Justina might, like any of them could play sports. I mean, I play soccer and softball, so.
That's true. Marcel just has that athletic swag, you know?
He's got the swag.
And Candice, I know Candice will definitely know this one. I'm sure Taylor will too. Who is known for their iconic role on West Side Story?
Rita Moreno, come on.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, EGOT. Hello.
My favorite movie of all time. I love it.
And it's getting ready to come back out again.
I know.
They're doing a remake with Steven Spielberg.
And she's going to be a part of it. I'm so excited about that. Okay, next question. For the Critics' Choice nominations, who was nominated for either Best Actor or Best Actress in a comedy series for One Day at a Time?
Todd Grinnell.
I want to say it was Elena. Why am I blanking on her name? Isabel.
You're both incorrect. It's Justina Machado.
Yeah, Justina.
I thought you guys were definitely going to say... it's the best actress, but I said actor, actress. I was kind of trying to throw you guys off a little there.
That was sneaky.
Okay, next question. Who is the author of 3 books?
Oh.
Does it have to be a castmate?
It's one of the main cast members.
Oh,
I'm gonna say Rita.
Todd.
It's actually Stephen Tobolowsky, Dr. B.
That does not surprise me. Does not surprise me.
That seems like he would do that. I think they're nonfiction, but don't quote me on that. I did it. The book titles are Cautionary Tales, The Dangerous Animals Club, and My Adventures with God.
Oh,
I'm gonna look those up. That sounds interesting.
Next one is another tweet, and I feel that this person, even though it's real life, they would probably say this on the show with their character as well. Okay. Who tweeted about this past Tuesday's episode airing saying, quote, "Sorry, I'm late to the live tweeting. I was busy giving Isabella Gomez life advice."
Rita Moreno.
I'm gonna say Todd.
It was Todd Grinnell Snyder.
Because you probably have one per actor, so I'm like narrowing it down. Okay, I see where you're going.
I was gonna switch it and do like a couple like Rita, but then I was like, oh, I'll switch it up a little bit. So, but that's all I have for you guys today. You guys didn't do too bad. Not too bad.
That was so fun.
Could have done better. Could have done better.
We're gonna study up. I'm gonna be reading these tweets 24/7 now. I'm not gonna embarrass myself like that again. That's awesome. And Candice, did you see any news? I know it's been kind of quiet, but
it has been a little bit quiet, unfortunately. Obviously, I mean, we all are kind of at home, but if you guys hop on over to the One Day at a Time Instagram, like their actual page, there is one where they've done like Alone Together, so that is more recent, where you could see some of their different posts of just how to be alone together, the campaign that they've actually been showing on the show. And then they're just keeping us up to date with all their cute videos and clips for next week. We're going into Halloween next week somehow. Timelines.
Sure.
We're just going to enjoy Halloween next week. So it's fine. But guys, if you love this show, and obviously love watching all of your shows, I know that we are consuming so much content now. Make sure that you're not only going on YouTube and watching us on YouTube and liking and subscribing and commenting there. You're going on over to Spotify, listening to us while you're doing your workouts, while you're doing your arts and crafts, while you're doing your work, whatever that may be. And also check us out on Instagram and Twitter. There is amazing content AfterBuzz is putting up, and they're also doing really cool shorts segment shows. So make sure to hop on over there and like and follow and do all the things. So
yes, thank you so much, Candice. It is definitely helping me pass the time to see everything everyone's tweeting and
absolutely. And more guests are coming on, which is really cool. So if you're loving one of your favorite like TV actors, most of the time they are starting to come on the shows too. So that's kind of cool.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, let us get into some predictions.
Prediction.
I know we've got that.
And
Especially with that bombshell at the end. Elysa, do you want to go first?
Predictions.
I am just hoping so much to see more of Max and Penelope. I'm so here for their relationship. I'm so hoping that, I know that she doesn't want to have any more kids. I think just from what him saying that I missed you, kid. You could definitely tell that there is definitely a lot that's going to happen between them. At least I hope so. So hopefully next episode, we will definitely see more of that relationship.
Love that. Could not agree more. What about you, Candice?
Ditto. And I'm also very interested to see, like, if you watch the preview, obviously Alex's relationship is getting a little bit more steamy with his girlfriend. Costumes are going to be very interesting from what I've seen clips wise on Instagram. So it'll be nice to suspend disbelief in all the chaos right now and just pretend that it's Halloween and we can all just play pretend a bit. So I'm super excited for that.
Absolutely. And yes, I actually did see a couple of the little spoiler clips, and I know that Sid and Elena are going to definitely put their little activist spin on the holiday.
Of course.
Episodes, the Valentine's Day one, where Sid just wants to go to Benihana. I think that's one of the ones. So I'm really excited to see kind of where they end up in the little Halloween sphere, and if they decide to, keep going with this activist, mood, or if they decide to, what, we just want some Benihana, we just want some candy. I'm just really excited to see those two come back next week, because we didn't get a whole lot in this episode, but
Exactly.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you guys for breaking this episode down with me. Where can we find you guys on social media?
You can find me on all my social media at Candice R. Cruz.
Awesome. What about you, Elysa?
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Elysa_Acosta. And if you have any trivia that you would like me in a future episode breakdown to ask the ladies, please DM me and let me know.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for those awesome questions. That was like a really, really fun segment.
That was fun.
Me on Twitter at alphaba_Ann and on Instagram at Keven_Gates_. We will see you guys next week. Until then, keep it one day at a time.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.